Now, Saudi Arabia and Egypt have set up a $10 billion joint fund to develop a planned megacity. The two countries have committed more than 1,000 square kilometers in Egypt's South Sinai. This as Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman made his first public trip to the country. Cairo supports Riyadh in its fight against Iran-backed Houthi fighters in Yemen. Last year, we saw Egypt join a Saudi-led boycott of Qatar and agreed to hand over two Red Sea islands to Saudi Arabia despite widespread criticism at home. Now, the Saudi visit comes 3 weeks ahead of an election where former General Abdel Fattah el-Sisi is seeking a second term. Well, Yasser Kim now joins us in Cairo with more details on this project. Very welcome to the show, Yasser. Now, what we do know so far is that this new $10 billion joint investment fund, it will help develop the Egyptian side of Neom. Now, Neom is a futuristic project by Saudi Arabia. Give us more details on this project.
Yes, it's a fascinating project, Uche, if it comes a reality. It's part of Saudi Arabia's Vision 2030, which plans to change the whole structure of the kingdom, and it stops depending on oil, and it's looking at other sources of revenue away from oil completely, just like the United Arab Emirates have done in the past decades. Now, it's an area around 26,500 kilometers. That's Egypt, part of Sinai, southern Sinai, Sharm el-Sheikh and Hurghada, and then you got Saudi Arabia, and Jordan as well will be part of it. There will be, which is already under construction, a bridge that will link Egypt to Saudi Arabia through the Red Sea. There will be a stop in the two famous islands, Tiran and Sanafir, which were handed back to Saudi Arabia, according to by Egypt just this week. And this will be an area where you will have around not less than 50 tourist areas, cities. There will be industries, there will be all kinds of services, all kinds of economic upheaval in this area to try to make it a hub for the region in all its forms. Obviously, Egypt will not only be part of it in the touristic side, which is China, Sharm el-Sheikh and Hurghada, but also it will be linked to Suez Canal, and you have the industrial city there. There's a huge Chinese industrial city as well in Sinai, in the Suez Canal area. And this will be linked to the Neom city or project, and they're talking about $500 billion investment there that will try to attract investments from around the world to take part in all kinds of industries, all kinds of tourism, and all kinds of services within the next decade or so.
Now, it's quite a major deal, Yasser, which suddenly signals a growing strategic ties between Saudi Arabia and Egypt, not just economically, politically as well. So give us a sense of where that relationship seems to be going.
Well, it's now as strong as ever, and that's because of the challenges in the region. And if you talk politically and security-wise, there is a lot of challenges. We've seen what's been happening with terrorism and obviously the conflicts: Syria, Iraq, Libya, Yemen. We're talking about Syria, Iraq, and Libya, for example, were the three of the strongest armies in the region, and now they've simply been destroyed. And that only leaves the two armies intact in the region, are the Saudi and the Egyptian, the biggest armies, and they're still intact. And that's why they decided that it's time we unite together and try to stand against all the challenges and obviously the influence and interference of regional powers and foreign powers in the region. And we've seen the results happening in Yemen, Syria, and Iraq, with the international powers interfering and causing more havoc, and obviously the rise of terrorism. And that led those two powers in the Middle East to try to unite together and try to fight off terrorism. They are working together on counter-terrorism efforts. They're working together with Egypt, has been taking part in the Yemen conflict with forces, especially the Navy forces, securing the Red Sea and Suez Canal, and obviously the hubs in the region, in the Red Sea area and around the Gulf states. So the political side has now been very important, and that's why the two, Egypt and Saudi Arabia, have come closer together. And obviously, that's beside the economic side, where Saudi Arabia has been providing Egypt with a lot of financial support to overcome its economic recession and try to rebuild the economy that has been suffering after the 2011 uprising for the last 5 or 6 years.
Well, as always, many thanks, Yasser, for your insights. Of course, that was Yasser Hakim joining us there in Cairo.